I'm not wasting these gold moments on 60 Minutes.
Oh, wow, Rob, what a treat and a joy to be talking to you.
Is that a Ben, Rob and Robbo exclusive?
I'm liking your new digs. This is flashier than any studio that I've ever worked in.
I want to come on this show all the time because no other show would ever set me up with that much room for danger.
Rob and Robbo. Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, entertainment, it's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Hello there. I was still looking up at the camera. Hello and welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. You know, it's another big show. We're going to be breaking down the US election and cutting through the BS with Sam Dastyari. We're also going to be talking to last night's Masked Singer who was revealed, Lucy Durack. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. I can't do this show without my two favourite boys, David Robinson and Benjamin Norris. Hello, boys. Good to see you again. How are you feeling today, Robbo?
Very well, Rob. I'm just thrilled to be here and to be with you. Wonderful to be with you, gentlemen.
Make that sound sarcastic?
Did it come across as sarcasm?
I'm thrilled to be here.
No, I am. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and you both look really. You both look nice.
Well, we spruce up.
Oh, you didn't get the sarcasm there, though. So.
The show's off to a good start. Ben, how are you on this fine Tuesday?
I'm good. I'm very excited to be here as well, but I'm now scared that I'm not saying it authentically enough. I feel like we're getting graded on who's genuinely the most excited to be here. So
it's a competition to see who is the most excited. We seem to have frozen up a little bit, but it looks like we're coming back now. You know what? Before we get into our hot button issues, let's get a COVID-19 update with Robbo.
Rob, thank you very much. This is the latest in COVID-19 news. To Victoria first, where there have been 70 new cases reported in the past 24 hours and sadly 5 further deaths. This is, however, the smallest number of daily infections since early July, and this downward trend has brought the 7-day average to just slightly over 100. That average has also revealed that 50% of the new cases are healthcare workers, and the number of aged care facilities in Victoria with active cases has dropped by 21 over the past week. To New South Wales now, there have been 13 new cases, 2 of which are in hotel quarantine. Premier Gladys Berejiklian is expected to announce a New South Wales and Victoria bubble today, extending 50 kilometres either side of the border. In Queensland, there have been 2 new cases overnight, one at an Ipswich hospital and another case already in quarantine from a school that also had a positive case. Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk has said that Queensland's borders will remain closed throughout September.
Thank you, Robbo. Appreciate that. Let's get into our hot button issues now, and we'll start with Melbourne. And ring fencing might be the latest weapon in the fight against COVID. Premier Daniel Andrews mentioned the word plan 22 times in a recent press conference, but failed to go into any real detail. However, the idea of ring fencing and locking down entire suburbs is gaining strength. It would allow other parts of the city to start returning to some form of normalcy. Ben, you're down there in Melbourne. How would people feel seeing other areas open but still being stuck in stage 4 lockdown?
well, I think that's just a measure that's probably going to need. COVID-19 thing has been a giant zigzag, if you ask me, because we've moved forward, we've moved back, and like in life, that's just how things happen. So I think people need to get on board with the very idea that this could be a reality, as people might be aware or have remembered that in Victoria, we did start to section off parts of Victoria that went into early stages of stage 3 before we all into stage 4 before we all went into stage 4. So look, this is a real possibility. It's not new. It's something we've done before.
Robbo, you can imagine people have been upset about any form of lockdown. We saw in the early stages people were faking their licenses to not have some of the restrictions that were suburb-based. Can we trust people to do the right thing? Ring fencing, like it's really going to become a a state of oppression in some ways, because you're going to look through a fence and seeing people going about their day while you're locked in. It's like the Simpsons bubble.
Well, yes, it is. But I want to say something. It's for the greater good, really. So we all want Victoria to drop their cases. We all want Victoria to open. We all want all states to open. And if this is a way that enables it to kind of have a scattered approach to opening, get the CBD open again, get people back into work as much as possible, I think that's actually a good thing. Again, I'm not in lockdown. My heart goes out to people who are in lockdown. I know it's very, very tough. But surely this would be the way that if, unfortunately, because of your postcode and where you live, that you might have to be in lockdown when others aren't. It's just the way of getting it back on sooner. And so I don't mind this. What I would like is in those lockdown suburbs, and especially if they put up a ring fence, it's very confronting. I just want to know that there are support services available to people in there. You put up a fence. Every fence you put up, you need to have some kind of support in there, real support, not just a phone number. People can go and talk to maybe someone at local shopping centre. I don't know, but I just hope that there's support there for them.
Yeah, we all do. Look, let's move on. And many people might not have heard about the Australian Signals Directorate, but they certainly know some of us. The ASD is an organisation that's part of Australia's intelligence community, and their job is to monitor foreign signals intelligence, as well as cyber warfare and information security. The ASD cannot conduct mass surveillance of Australians, but it has been collecting intelligence on various people for over 20 years. Now the federal government wants to pass legislation that would allow the ASD to work with the federal police and share information. Robbo, should we feel uncomfortable about Aussies spying on Aussies?
Look, as long as it's done for the right reasons, and it's held up to a very high level of discourse, I think that's important. We live in dangerous times. There's no way to sugarcoat that, especially with the relationship between the US and China, where have got in the middle of that and will remain to be in that position.
But that's
this is where we've got to be.
They use for this. The director of this organisation said, not all Aussies are good Aussies. 100% right. But I always come back to, if you want to spy on Australians, get a warrant. Do it properly. These broad powers give them full access to everything we're doing, and we know our traces online are huge, but I have concerns about privacy.
Well, yeah, and of course, it's a very valid concern. I've shared the same concerns with both of you on this program, but there has to be a bit of give and take, especially with the way that the world is now and where it seems to be heading. This is just, if you want to live in a safe country, maybe this is a little bit of give that we've got to provide in order to be safe.
How much are you willing to give up, Robbo?
Everything except for my Pornhub search engine.
What about random checks in your house? We need to be safe. We can't see everything online. We just need to come into your house and check what you've got stored in the garage.
No, you've got to have some kind of reason to have that happen. So they're not going to randomly come around and knock on the door and say, it's the AFP here, we just want to have a bo peep in your pantry. That's not going to happen.
Why not? Spy agencies don't just use the internet. They plant listening devices. They put video surveillance in. It's not just a matter of scouring online. They listen into you. That's what spies do.
Yeah, but they need a warrant for that.
Well, that's my point, that they want broader powers.
Good. Yeah. Give it to them. Great.
Yeah, come on. Benny loves this. No, he loves it. So because you don't mind it. You're very open about the fact that you just, in a good way.
Come into my house. Go through my things. Go through everything. I don't care. And Robbo, I don't know why you're so worried about your Pornhub. What people need to understand about porn is everyone's probably watching it, and there aren't anything too scary about it. You might think it's taboo, but it's really not. Go through my internet, come into my house. You'd be bored out of your mind about how normal I am and how much I don't have to hide. And I have to say that in my life, the people that I know that are the most scared about giving away their rights and giving away their information are all the people I know that are doing illegal things. They've got reason to be paranoid.
Whoa. I'm not doing illegal things, all right?
Well, I don't
have
know.
a right to want privacy. I live in a free society.
Why?
I do not live in a dictatorship. I am allowed to have privacy. That does not mean I'm doing anything wrong. I actually don't have anything to hide. But I don't want them spying on me unless there is probable cause and they get the right warrants to do so.
Let me
That's
tell
not
you this.
outrageous.
If there are, I know, but look, let's just say that there is a dubious reason to be concerned about somebody's behaviour. It hasn't been fully qualified or justified, and giving away the rights to be able to tap in and see just really quickly if that person is doing something severely illegal or very corrupt, then that's a good start. And at the end of the day, please explain, apart from just the emotion, like just this weird emotion about it, but why are you so scared about just being able to give it to the authorities? Like, what do you think they're going to do?
I don't have faith in them. We've seen so much corruption through all levels of policing and government, and I'm not an anti-policer or anything like that. I stick up for the police on this show many, many times. But I do believe that if you want to spy on people, get a warrant, prove your concerns to a judge, an independent judge, and show us that there is probable cause. You look at what's happening. The head of the AFP has faced a sentence estimate inquiry about raids on the journalist's house, and he said the courts were wrong, that this was justifiable and that the AFP were entitled to search the journalist's house. You know why the AFP searched that house of Annika Smethurst? Because she wrote a story that the government of the day did not like. That's why they searched her house and went through everything. And basically, her story was correct. So we are trying to kill the independence of the reporters. And so there's a thing, Ben. So a reporter writes something. The agency can now go and spy on them to find out who their sources are. Sources are an important thing for journalism. There are good reasons to have a free society that holds a government to account. And every time you take away those rights, we lose that right to hold our governments to account, which gives them more flexibility to do the wrong thing.
I get that, but like when we go through this woman's house and we find out that she's done nothing wrong and there's nothing incriminating there and they walk away and they apologise, I still don't see that there's anything wrong with that.
They're not apologising. That woman has had to give up journalism because of the mental health strain it has taken on her. They went through every facet of her life, her panties, for God's sake. And by the way, when they went through her phone, the head of the person in there went through the phone saying, yes, you can take that message, you can't take that one. So if she had conversations with politicians from the government, they were told to ignore those text messages and those messages. So, mate, this is political, and this is the slippery slope we go down when you say to give these outrageous powers away willy-nilly. And it's an easy cop-out to say, well, what are you trying to hide if you don't want people rifling through your drawers? I don't have anything to hide. In fact, I'm probably one of the most boring people when it comes to what you're going to find. Video leads and equipment in my house. That's what you're going to find. But it doesn't mean I want these spy agencies to have the right to plant a mic and listen to my conversations. You know,
I just don't see. Look, I'm so sorry. I know that you were on a rant, and I just was really worried how long of the show we had left. But I was going to say,
that way, Ben. This is a serious issue.
It is a serious issue, but it's like you're talking in a different language. And at the end of the day, I just don't see the issue in being able to hand over my privacy when it comes to the government trying to protect us. I just don't see the world where
it's not
I'm
an
so
either or. They
skeptical.
are protecting us, and they do an amazing job with the tools at their disposal. That does not mean we have to give all our rights away in the scary boogeyman of being protected.
Yeah, but then I just think this is them. They log into your mainframe. They're like, oh my gosh, the most outrageous thing Rob McKnight has done is download Gone with the Wind for the 100th time. Poor Amanda. And they walk away. They're like, seriously.
Boys, you both bring up great points, but we have surely got to move on from this bloody topic. We've been spending an hour on it. You both
I'm sure
don't
people
agree
are
with each
ringing
other.
the bell in our comments section.
Yeah,
Look,
that's right.
And speaking of our viewers who give us feedback, Not our viewers, but the keyboard warriors are at it again. With this time, it's Adele in their outraged firing line. The singer posted a picture of herself wearing a Jamaican flag bikini top and her hair in Bantu knots. It's a style that's predominantly associated with people of African descent. She had dressed like this to commemorate what would have been the Notting Hill Festival, which has been moved online due to the pandemic. It's a carnival held in London that celebrates Jamaican culture. She was then swiftly condemned and accused of cultural appropriation. Ben, was she tone deaf, or is this simply more BS?
Yeah. Can I see the image again?
You're going to say she's looking fabulous, aren't you? That's what you're going to focus on.
I just want to know whether or not she's been going through my house, because I think I wore that to Mardi Gras one year.
But Robbo, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? This cultural appropriation. And look, there are severe issues of racial inequity in our society, and we especially see that in the United States. But you know, I went to Fiji. My kids got braids by the lovely ladies there. Have I done the wrong thing by doing that, you know, as part of their trip to Fiji? You know, like, can we not enjoy the idea of culturalism is a celebration of culture. She's celebrating the Jamaican culture here. Are we really now at the point where we can't even do that?
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head at the end there, where you were saying that, you know, it's a celebration, and that's exactly what this was. We understand that blackface is incredibly offensive because of what it used to be with the minstrels, and it was, you know, making fun of them, and it's deeply offensive. We understand that. This, to me, is clearly just a celebration of someone else's culture. So if you're not part of that culture now, are we not allowed to celebrate it? Are we just got to, oh yeah, I'm happy, you know, Jamaican Day, and but we can't, like, you know, she's put on that thing. It's a it's an ode to them. This pisses me off about this kind of thing, because it's just she's clearly not being offensive, right? She's clearly not perpetuating stereotypes. She is not being rude about it. Even her bloody caption was like, "This would have been, you know, the Notting Hill Festival in my beloved London." This kind of bullshit. Oh my God,
that's 2 swear
irritates
words.
me.
You're putting some money in the jar.
Sorry, but it just irritates me because she clearly wasn't doing it offensively. So when you got all these bloody, I almost said another one too, a bad one.
All right,
all
you're
of
on a
these
warning.
social justice warriors, right? There are better, more important fights that need to be fought, not for Adele, who was clearly celebrating them and enjoying them and loving them. Get over yourselves. Ring the bell on them.
All right, good one. I agree. Ben, if you don't, too bad.
I agree.
A Channel 4
Oh no, I'm very excited about this next story. Very excited.
Wait until you find out why. I'll put up the right photo. A Channel 4 documentary in the UK is breaking one of the final unbroken rules of television, the showing of a naked erection. In the documentary titled Me and My Penis, photos and footage of 8 erections will be shown as a series of male issues are discussed. Let's have a look at a little tease of the documentary.
Oh,
I personally think it's really important for us to just see more erect penises in our lives, not for a sex thing, just to normalise them, to make them less panicky, because I think if you're a straight man specifically, you don't see enough of them.
Hold it right there.
I don't know why in society we've seemed to have shamed the erection. It doesn't make much sense to me. We're prudes, I think, in Britain.
Without an erect penis, we wouldn't have life. So there is a certain power to it, but it's a power that isn't just like a physical power. It's also all connected. It's strong. It is being masculine.
The series will show uncensored versions of those penises, and TV regulations in the UK forbid an erect penis being shown in a sexual context. But as this is shown artistically, it has been allowed. Ben, is this a taboo that needs to be broken?
Oh yeah, I think it's really strange how much we've come a long way in society, we really have. And then I think it's because it makes people nervous. And I guess there's a reason why. I guess when you see an erect penis, something is going to happen, I guess. I don't know. But I just think we need to normalize this. I mean, half the population have penises, half the population have erections. I guess it's for private time, but I do think that there is a lot of built-up anxieties within men. And I think that's because there's a lot of times in our life where we feel we can't talk about things openly, or, you know, we feel nervous about, you know, our bits.
Well, look, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, I've often heard the comment, well, from women saying, well, you show women's boobs, why not the penis? A little bit different. but
Why? Why is that different?
Well, I guess because of everything associated with, I don't know, it just somehow is different.
Tit for tat,
you know, like if you remember back to that great documentary the BBC did, The Human Body, where for the first time they showed all those naked people and really explored the human body. That was groundbreaking in its day. And this is almost like, Robbo, The Last Taboo. What's wrong?
Sorry. That should have come with a trigger warning, because I happened to walk in when my parents were watching that documentary in the late 90s, and they had a camera that was in the penis, and as ejaculation was happening, they filmed it, and it has scarred me for the rest of my life.
Was that the one with the heat camera?
No. There was a camera inside the penis.
Oh, yes.
And it was like
things like that.
Ugh.
It was a fabulous series. Fabulous series. And look...
Robert.
Yes?
Do we... I don't... you know, look, we couldn't have done it back in the time because of, you know, that day and age. But I would suggest that straight men, unlike what that gentleman said in that clip there, I think that straight men have seen a lot of erect penises porn. Yes, it's the second time in this episode I've mentioned the word porn, but whatever. But they've seen erect penises. The only difference I can see here is that they're doing it not in a sexual nature, which I understand. But I don't know. We're so, you know, programmed to know that an erect penis means sex, right? So to have a documentary that says, well, it's not, it's just an erect penis. We've all seen them. We've seen plenty of them. And so I don't know that this is really groundbreaking.
I haven't seen plenty of them.
You've watched
well,
porn.
so you say.
Amanda,
Yeah, exactly. Better not ask.
That's what
anyway.
I'm saying. Porn, like porn.
Anyway,
you've
forget
seen
that. I think this is really interesting, and of course, they will be warning about the content. You don't have to watch it, so you don't need to complain about it. Let's move on.
Exactly.
And a YouTuber who pranked his girlfriend, he has divided the internet, with the prank being named by some as humiliating and abusive. Kristen Hanby uploaded the video where he poured blue fabric dye into his girlfriend's bath. Let's take a look.
So I've just made my girlfriend a bubble bath with her favourite stuff. But little does she know, I've filled the bath with fabric dye. What's wrong?
What's wrong?
Oh my!
He has yet to respond to the controversy, but has actually removed the video from his TikTok. Amanda laughed at this, Robbo, and she said, "This isn't a big deal." And I said, "Well, what if I did this to you?" And she said, "Oh, I would kill you."
But there have been reports though that people are labeling it as abuse, like, and you know, awful and mean, and it's a prank. That's what they do. Clearly, if she's with him, you've got to assume that, you know, she knows that he's a prankster, and that's what happens. The other thing is as well, I think that she's in on it anyway, because
I agree.
If you're in a bath, you would have, like, yeah, over there, it's nice, it's blue. Oh, you put your arm up. Why the hell is my arm blue? Why would you be in there for an hour? I don't believe. Sometimes
she's got it very. I mean, this is hilarious when she comes out here. I will say whether she's in on it or not. But I will say that she. It's just a nice ring around the neck. She hasn't gone any lower into the bath. She hasn't ducked her head under the bath or anything like that. It's all a little too convenient for me.
But too convenient, but also the fact of, again, these bloody social justice warriors on a keyboard are going, oh, that's abuse and that's awful and she could get hurt and blah, blah, blah. Of course he would have checked to see if that fabric dye was was okay for someone's skin. And like you say, it's all too convenient, isn't it? And also, I'm assuming that if you did that to Amanda and then you still you got your phone and you were filming her reaction, I'm pretty sure that she'd either yell or say, turn the phone off or hit the phone out of your hand.
She would be putting out expletives even you haven't heard.
Exactly. But this woman standing there, wearing clothes that accentuate,
that was hilarious when she came out in the shorts and t-shirt. I will say it was hilarious, but interesting the backlash that they've had to pull it down. But Ben, just say she really did. It really was a prank, and she wasn't in on it. It's not abuse, is it? I mean, you're with someone who does this kind of crap.
Yeah, I don't see it as abuse. I just think people these days have got a lot to say about a lot of things, and fair game to them. Fair game. But I think
a whole show
this was this is clearly a setup. It's very funny. No one was hurt. So I think move on. There's plenty of other things that those type of people have still got to complain about in the day. They've got to tick off, the 5G towers, the anti-masking, the anti-vaccine.
Adele wearing Jamaican clothes.
Dan Andrews, the episode of The Golden Girls where they had face masks on that happened to be the colour of brown. Look, I don't know. These people are busy.
They were mud masks that the Golden Girls were wearing. They were actual mud masks. But anyway, all right. Thank you, guys. We always appreciate your input. We are halfway.
Have a great day.
No, you're not. Sorry, you're not leaving yet. I need you to stay here. I'm trying to find a way to transition into the next segment, right. And every day you guys are making it harder and harder.
We're challenging you, my friend.
Okay.
Challenging, giving me the poops. However you want to put it. Look, we are at the halfway point of The Masked Singer Australia, and last night Cactus had to be revealed. And it was none other than musical theatre royalty Lucy Durack. Let's have a look at how that played out. What a moment. And Lucy joins us right now. Lucy, welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show.
Thanks so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
My kids are so jealous. We've seen you in so many plays, Wicked, a lot of other stuff, but we'll get to all that, I'm sure. Lucy, you said last night that you were a huge fan of The Masked Singer. Was that what drew you to doing the show?
Yeah, it was a absolute no-brainer. As soon as they said, "Oh, would you like to be on?" They'd actually asked me. Originally, it was meant to be filming earlier, and it was pre-COVID, and I was doing Shrek the musical, and so I was like, "Oh no, I can't believe I've been asked, and I can't do it." So then, when COVID hit, that was a very big silver lining, is that it got pushed back, and of course Shrek had finished by then because of COVID, and so I got
one
to
of
be
the few people who did well out of COVID.
Look, it has been a really challenging time, of course, but yeah, it's a pretty massive silver lining to be able to go on this show because I was a mad keen fan. I didn't miss one episode last year, and I haven't missed any this year for other reasons.
Lucy, there was a really good moment last night, I have to say, where you gave a shout out to your daughter Polly. What was her reaction like when she watched your reveal?
She was so surprised. Well, first of all, because Danny guessed me just before I was revealed, that was kind of her final guess. And she said, and Polly just turned to me and she was like, "How does Danny know who you are?" And she's like laughing. And I was like, "I don't know, actually." And then I was revealed and we videoed her and she was saying, "What?" And then she just started giggling and she was so surprised. And then she was like, "I have to tell all my friends at kindy." She started listing them and I was like, that's why. I kept feeling guilty that I hadn't told her, but I knew she's 5 and she can't keep a secret yet. So I thought, this is exactly why we haven't told you till now.
Now, Lucy, I wanted to ask you, we've seen your wonderful daughter, as you were just speaking about her there, that she likes to dress up. She's dressed up as Dorothy and as a princess. Any idea if she wants to dress up as the Cactus?
She hasn't mentioned it. She was very, very keen on the Wizard. And so when the Wizard left, she was, in fact, at one point it was down to the Wizard and I a few weeks ago. It was Hammerhead, the Wizard and I. And she was like, oh my goodness, I hope the Wizard doesn't go. And I was like, well, or the Cactus. But of course she didn't know that was me. And she's still a big fan of kittens. I think she'd be more likely to dress up as the Wizard or kitten than Cactus. But you never know.
That's kids for you. They'll always go against you. Lucy, you've played some of the amazing characters. Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, Glinda in Wicked, just to name a few. The Cactus is essentially another character to add to that list. What is it about playing characters that appeals to you?
It's such fun, I guess, and really, like, this took it to the nth degree in that you really are a character, but being behind a mask, being behind a character is liberating in a way because it's not you, it's this character, and you kind of get to express yourself in a different way, and I find that really fun and exciting. But yeah, being behind a mask just took it that one step further, and I got to try stuff that I would normally be probably a bit too nervous to try, especially on such a large stage as a national television show. I definitely don't think I would have had the confidence to try out I Touch Myself by the Divinals, for instance, if I wasn't behind a mask.
Well, no, that was the one I wanted to see because you're saying Touch Myself and then we get the crowd chanting, take it off, take it off.
I was so relieved. So
anyway. I was just going to say, don't feel special. We use that joke about taking it off on all the contestants that come off The Masked Singer. We get very excited about people revealing
the magic,
who's
Ben.
Underneath.
Actually, the other day we were on the monkey bars and my daughter said to me, she was like, I said, yeah, go Polly, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. She goes, Mum, can you say take it off? And I was like, no, I can't.
Not at the playground anyway. You know, Lucy, I'm really excited about this because my mum's a huge Neighbours fan, so I just get to check in and out on what's happening on Neighbours. And, you know, you've joined Neighbours, which is so exciting. Can you tell us, though, what's happening behind the scenes? I know with Days of Our Lives overseas in America, they're doing all these different ways of filming because of COVID. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into how filming Neighbours has been like during COVID?
Absolutely. It's been very fascinating. We're completely separated in different teams. So I'm on blue team and I can't go anywhere near yellow team, for instance, and everything's very clearly gaffed off. And we're at the studios in Nunawading that Neighbours has always been filmed in, but they've just completely cut it in half. And it's running. You get your makeup done like you do at the start of a day, but you don't get any touch ups. So you do any touch ups yourself throughout the day. You get given your own makeup bag, and the makeup team watch you on a monitor, and they'll send a note to the studio to say, oh, you're looking shiny or whatever. So then you have to go and touch yourself up, and you don't touch the same prop as each other. So I had to do a scene where I was passing a USB to somebody else, and I wasn't allowed to actually touch the USB because he then had it for the rest of the scene. So we did a tricky camera angle, and there was a character that had to kiss another character, and of course they've written in no touching, but for this storyline they needed a kiss, so they cut this character's husband's hair to look like that character, and she's her husband.
See, that's great. We've been talking about that, and that's it's amazing how they're getting around these things. But one last question before I go. There's obviously been the shutdown of The Masked Singer on the eve of the grand finale, or just hours from shooting the grand finale. What have you heard? Jackie O has revealed that it is going ahead. Tell us what's been going on behind the scenes while all this has been going on.
Well, it's true. We were all ready to go. I was in my green unitard ready to put on the Cactus outfit, and I was leaving my dressing room with the security guard to go on stage and for the finale, because all the masks come back together for this finale number that we're all doing together. And yeah, they said, "Oh, go back to your dressing room. We've got to stop for a minute." And then that was it. We were stopped and we all went home, and it was a big, as we know, somebody tested positive, or a few people tested positive, and we were all in quarantine. So I'm currently in quarantine here in my own house, which I'm very lucky that I didn't.
So does that mean you won't be returning for the finale?
No, I will be. We will just be, because nobody can film it until we're out of quarantine anyway. We will all go back and film it. We're all out of quarantine by the weekend, so after that we can film the finale, and the finale will go ahead.
And is that happening in Melbourne or Sydney?
In Melbourne.
Right. Okay, that's awesome news. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's thrilling.
Yeah,
you can tell that Rob's whole family are so excited about this grand finale because they're massive fans. I mean, I think we all are. But that was a question with some real passion from Rob because he doesn't want to disappoint his children. Hey, Lucy, I just want to quickly say... I want to quickly say to you, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours this morning, Joel, and Joel told me that he was like, Lucy's one of the most loveliest people. In passing, he mentioned to you that Georgia loved The Wizard of Oz and loved Dorothy, and that you turned up at her 30th birthday just on a whim, dressed as Dorothy and sang Over the Rainbow, which is amazing. I just want to say, in passing, can I also ask you if you'd like to come back on the Ben, Rob and Robbo show and be a guest panelist?
I would love that. That would be amazing.
No pressure at all. We'll just ask you live on television. So, you know, we've got it on tape. You have to come on now.
I love it. Now you've got it on tape. You have to have me back.
Touche. Lucy, we love you and look forward to you coming back on the Ben, Rob and Robbo show. We think you are fantastic. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, guys. It's been a joy. So nice to chat to all three of you.
It's the Random Life Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Random Life Shot of the Day.
And today we're taking you to Depot Island in Okuanana. Let me show you exactly where that is by going to the Google Maps. Here you can see we have the island became part of Japan in 1879. It's about 1,536 kilometres from Tokyo. The forecast is rain with a top of 29 degrees after a low of 26 degrees. Let's take a look at some feedback coming through to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show now. If we came out of lockdown too soon in Melbourne, we would most likely be back in stage 4 by Christmas. Another news item that is just, why is this being discussed? Oh, that's old feedback, Amanda. We've had a few technical issues today, but let's see if I can fix this really quickly, Robbo.
Yeah, while you're doing that, we're just going to look at these wonderful pictures coming through from that island. I'm worried that maybe the island's been flooded, global warming attacking again. I can't see an island there. It's all water. I'm concerned. Rob, back to you.
We're back, and Carlotta says, hi, boys. Leo says,
hello.
How did we change topic from spying to porn? This is the Ben, Rob and Robbo show, Leo. Anything can happen. Mary says, right. Make it easier for cops to get warrants rather than opening everyone's doors. Yeah, I don't mind that. Reggie says, our good friend Regina says, lots of pedos will get caught, so that's positive. And that's the argument they're using, but it doesn't necessarily equate. Gay says, I agree with Ben. I don't care if anyone looks at my details. They'd leave soon enough when they found nothing and got bored. Amanda says, sorry, as someone who has had the police turn up to schedule me, I freak out if police come to my house. They need to have a good reason to be there. Carlotta again says, if you have nothing to hide, who cares? It's good to see Carlotta watching the show again, isn't it? Lovely
Carlotta.
Carol. Yes, we love Carlotta. Mary says, our government isn't transparent. Why should we be? Oh, Mary, that is our comment of the day, I think. Regarding the television show talking about the doodles, Ben, Reggie says, I'm all for showing the doodles. And Malcolm Blunt on that practical joke says, maybe he has a Smurf fetish, which is a very good point.
I think we all need more dick in our life, though, to be honest with you.
All right, moving on.
No, like Richard. Like Richard. Plenty of Richards.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Amanda said no. Oh, then goodbye.
Moving on. Okay, it's time to cut through the political spin. And as we're talking US elections, there is so much BS happening. And the man who can swim through it is none other than Sam Dastyari. Sam, we've seen just recently the Republican convention, the Democratic convention. Yep. First of all, give me your hot takes on each one. Let's start with Joe Biden first. How did he perform?
Look, at the end of the day, it felt like a Zoom meeting. And the whole idea of this convention, it did, right? Everyone was calling it unconventional convention. But the reality is that it felt like a reasonably well-produced YouTube content. So, look, the American politics is about theatre. It's about the kind of the excitement, the energy. I think both parties did it as well as they could, but the reality is you just can't build that kind of energy off what was essentially a virtual event. And the whole, the theatre of it, the sport of it, the balloons, the screaming, the dancing, all of those things, it's naturally going to feel fairly kind of still and stiff. I have to say, I actually thought the Republicans did a better job. And it helps when you've got someone like Trump, who's obviously a bit more theatrical, than Joe Biden, who unfortunately on many occasions looks like he's just kind of been, woken up from his long slumber to do a press conference and then go back to sleep for another 18 hours.
Well, Sam, this is the Republican convention, and look at the difference. I mean, there's the whole controversy of using the White House, which has never been done before. But Trump is so energetic that whatever you think of his policies, he is a man that energizes his base, and Joe Biden
he's exciting.
doesn't seem to
it's
do
electric.
that.
But here's the difference, right? When you watch Trump, you know he's saying what he wants to say, and you know that Biden is scripted. So I'm blown away by the fact they didn't. Because look, Joe Biden's obviously been around politics a long time. He's no deal. Surely they would have realised by now that to beat Trump, you have to throw away the rule book, and Biden has to be authentic. And I think what's going to kill him at the moment, I think they're going to be in real trouble, is, look, be it his tweets, be it his comments, when you watch a Trump press conference, they're enthralling because you don't know what he's going to say. He doesn't know what he's going to say.
So true.
Surely that can't be a good thing. It's interesting about Donald Trump is he actually knows how to play this game as well. He sort of preempted the fact that there was going to be a lot of pre-records in regards to people saying things about him. He jumped out and said Obama should have made his live. He was calling out everybody for not being live. And he does have a point when it comes to authenticity. Do you actually think, though, that Donald Trump's authentic voice is going to overpower probably, and maybe I'm a little bit uneducated when I say this, or maybe I'm a little bit naive, but, someone who is more qualified to do the job?
Yeah. Oh, look, there's no doubt that Biden's obviously incredibly qualified, and there's no questioning that. Yes, I mean, look, 86 or whatever days left to go. Anyone who tries to tell you they know what's going to happen in this election's lying, because anything can happen. But no, the authenticity, and you got to understand that American politics isn't Australian politics. That's what everyone gets wrong about this, right?
Yes.
Both parties are only talking to their own base, right? The only thing that matters is turning your people out.
That's right. So it's about galvanising their base, right? It's not about convincing Democrats to vote for the Republican movement, because in Australia we do swap, we do change over, but in America it's really about getting those people out to vote.
Yeah, look, we have this saying, which is Australian elections are won and lost by people who vote to avoid a fine. Right? But one of the advantages of the compulsory voting system is this, right? As a Labor person myself, or the Libs are the same, our base is going to vote. Right? We know they're going to vote. So our election campaigns are about trying to win over the slither of undecided people. Unfortunately, undecided can also mean not really caring, right, and not interested, but generally people who don't really know how they're going to vote. So that's why Australian politics tends to be a lot more centrist. The American system's not about that. What you're trying to do is motivate your base and demotivate your opponents. And from that perspective, look, I think the Democratic campaign is an incredibly unmotivating campaign. I mean, it's clear their strategy. Their strategy is to try and make it a referendum on Trump, and Trump's campaign strategy is to make it a choice between Trump and Biden. I mean, they're where the campaigns are heading. What's interesting is that Trump has essentially demonstrated the dirt campaign he's going to run, and it's all going to be about you will not be safe with Joe Biden as president.
Yeah.
So, Sam, what will the election or the election results mean for Australia?
Look, that's a really good question, and I think it's going to mean a lot. Here is my prediction. As the campaign gets underway, if Donald Trump is, the numbers remain where they are and he's behind, I think the China rhetoric is going to become incredibly bellicose, or China, as I think he calls it. He's going to. Apparently, you can just grab it if you want.
Shots fired.
This is why I love you, Dastyari. This is why you and I are good friends.
but But I think what's going to happen is, and this is where I think Australia does have to be very careful, is, there's that old kind of saying, and who knows where it ever came from, but, when the elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. And the real danger is, as part of the election kind of rhetoric and that, there is going to become another escalation in what will be a very, very big trade and other kind of conflict. And again, I don't think it's going to be a hot conflict, but essentially, Cold War-esque style conflict between China and America. And the real danger of Australia in this is, you are going to be caught between your largest trading partner and your closest ally. And that's a very, very difficult place to be. And the reality is that we'll be a side player of what will be a much bigger kind of situation that we only have very marginal say in what happens.
And we're already seeing the impact of that because China is flexing its muscle against us for being subservient to America in a way, because we're backing the US and our trade's going out the window.
Well, look, and when we say things like, obviously there's the whole, and I think in many cases, let's be frank here, I mean, I think the Chinese government has behaved fairly appallingly in terms of free trade principles. But, you look at barley, you look at beef, you look at, holding things up against the ports, and what's your recourse? We'll take it to the WTO. They don't give a shit. Like, it's true. It's true. What are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do? Like, they're going to ban them from being able to be involved in international trade. So look, this is a really, really, this is the big geopolitical kind of play at the moment. And I think the danger for Australia is where the rhetoric in this election period gets. Obviously, Trump isn't going to go down without a fight. I mean, he will throw everything at this if he thinks in trouble. And I've got to say, I don't know, but I mean, Biden would have been my choice. I was a Bernie Sanders man, but again, I'm a none for many elections. So, I'm probably not the best person. I was also for Chairman Corbyn. Goes to show how much I know. I thought the Harris choice, and also too, the Kamala Harris was a bit of I thought, surprising choice and the wrong one. Because if you are to motivate your base, I mean, yes, she's a woman of colour, and yes, she's incredibly, sophisticated and established and all those things. But I've got to say, for a lefty, to motivate your left-wing base, to have someone who has the record that she has when it comes to incarceration and locking up people and, putting people behind bars, I don't know. See, Trump went the opposite. Trump put Pence in, who is, loved by their own base to kind of shore up his base. And interestingly, the Dems have gone double down on moderate. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get a lot of these Dems out to vote.
Well, really, the Dems will get across if there's enough anti-Trump sentiment. That's what they'll basically be voting for, anyone but Trump. Sam, thank you for your insight as always. We will see you next week. Love having this segment.
See you next week.
Thank you,
Thank
mate.
you.
Thanks, Sam.
China.
See you, mate.
All right, it is time to talk some entertainment now. And Ben, Ellen's making headlines again. You know I love this story. Yes, I love this story because I love this story.
Oh.
I don't even know what to do with that, to be honest with you. I mean,
I don't know why I love this story so much. It really, I don't know why. I don't know.
I'm not stitching you up. I actually think we need to get you to sing more throughout the Ben, Rob and Robbo show, because I actually think you've got an amazing voice.
Now I know it is a stitch up because everyone knows, like my accents, my singing is terrible, never stops me. For once in my life.
Okay, this segment.
I'm ringing the bell on myself.
Well, this segment was already going to go on for a little bit, but Rob, I have to tell you that Andy Lasner, who has been the executive producer on the show since the beginning, so since Ellen started in 2003, and he's finally made some official comments. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that people are aware who Andy is. Now, on the show, Ellen refers to him with the nickname Average Andy, and he is one of the main producers. But check this clip out.
Executive producer on the Ellen Show. He works hard every day. He's super duper awesome at what he does, but he's average in every other way.
Which I think Can I just say, the reason why I'm doing that is because I really like him. I think he's really funny, and I think that the friendship that he has with Ellen is really evident on the show. So, look, I think that's a really good refresher.
He's
However,
very
he has
prolific on Twitter too, Ben, and very political. Very political, and can get a little bit nasty on Twitter, especially against President Trump, but that's a whole other thing. But say your piece.
That's a completely different story. Yeah, no. I completely
Just giving some
understand.
backgrounds about the kind of people Ellen works with.
And I appreciate that, but people are allowed to have opinions. We're running an opinion-based internet show right now, so he's entitled to his. You don't have to take it on board. And because you don't agree with his political party doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad person that you can now throw into the...
I'm not talking about his opinions. It's the way he expresses those opinions. So I actually do like him, but there is a nastiness there. That's all I'll say. Google it, kids. Find out.
Okay. Well, anyway, he has been very silent. You know, he had been very active on his Instagram, making videos and also supporting the Ellen show while the show's on. However, he finally has made an Instagram video, which I think is quite interesting. Check this out. Oh, I'm scratching
look
my
who
back.
it is. If it isn't Andy Lassner. Well, yes, it is. Your eyes do not deceive you. I'm back. I've been away for a little bit, dealing with, some stuff. You may have read about it. It's been a couple of rough months, but it's when we go through these things, I guess, that we learn the most about ourselves and maybe even some growth. But to tell you it hasn't been rough would be a lie, and I've always been honest with you. So it's been rough. But I'm back. I have been walking. I will now be walking for you guys again because, let's face it. What is life like when you're not slow walking with Andy? Anyway, I love you guys. I miss you. And I'll talk to you soon.
Sorry.
When did we ask?
I'm going to be slow walking for you guys. Yeah,
who
because
cares?
I've been in a production place that's treated everyone so bad. Ellen won't let people look her in the eye, but it's been rough on me, and I'm walking for you. I'm slow walking
And who cares? You're not a celebrity. Who bloody cares what you also... Oh, I'm back, guys. Yeah, I'm okay. Like, it's been pretty rough. But I bet your bank balance isn't that rough, mate. I bet, judging by the pool behind you, I think everything's A-okay. So piss off. No one cares.
Sorry, Ben. What did you want to say?
I don't even know what to do. Throw another log on the fire, boys. I thought that this video was actually quite interesting, and I wanted to make sure that people had remembered who Andy was and that we set him up in a nice way, because I couldn't understand this video, because when it was released, a lot of people were saying, shocking revelations. If you get a chance, anyone at home, to rewatch that video, he really doesn't say anything. Like, he acknowledges that it's been a really tough time, but he doesn't go into any real information. And the fact of the matter is, he is one of the only main producers now coming back to the show. The other three main producers have been fired. It would have been nice, I think, to be, as he said, honest and, maybe acknowledge a few of the points, helping us sort of get our way back into Ellen being on our TV screens again. Now, what has happened is she is actually being plagued with rumours. One of them is the Mariah Carey one. I was going to play a little bit of that today, but I think people have seen it a lot. And that is, Mariah Carey was on Ellen's show and Ellen forced her to drink a glass of champagne. That clip's really funny if you think that segment had been handled correctly. That segment hadn't been handled correctly because Mariah Carey was in fact pregnant and she went on to miscarry that child. So look, that whole run of events is just really dodgy production, and I think the producers had really done the wrong thing by leading Ellen into that situation. It's funny, I get it, but do your research.
I thought it was kind of mean. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought it was kind of mean, but you're suggesting, though, that it was the producers who led her astray, not exactly Ellen. I think that's a very interesting take.
Man. She still made the choice to do it. They thought, we've heard she's pregnant. We're going to give her the champagne and put her in this position where she has to acknowledge it. She made the call to go through with that. I've pitched things to hosts before where they said, Rob, I'd do almost anything for you. I'm not doing that. And I've had to go, okay. That's a biggest cop-out. Biggest cop-out. Come on, man.
No, I don't care how much you get into that little funny Rob McKnight mood of yours and start waving your little hands around like the T-Rex in Toy Story. I just want to...
got Donald Trump hands.
Regardless, I just want people to be aware that I get what is happening to Ellen and she has to be responsible for some parts of that.
All right, Ben,
but I
Ben,
just don't...
we have the footage. Let's have a look. Let the viewers judge. Amanda's done her magic and pulled it up. Let's roll the tape.
People are saying that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne and decide.
But they've been saying that since we.
It is actually funny.
I can have
it's very
champagne. It's just fattening. So,
you can't have champagne.
That's not champagne because you can't.
No, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. You want to taste it?
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? No.
Are you trying?
I'm not going to ask you if you're pregnant or
not.
not.
This is peer pressure. Do you see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
No. Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe her. Why would we toast to that? How about to the future?
Yeah. You can
and for both of our futures, who knows what they hold?
Who knows? All right, go ahead.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
It's too early for me. I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
It's so funny.
Actually, that's
Guys,
brilliant.
it's so
That's
funny.
brilliant.
It's so funny. And can I also say, for a lot of people playing at home, it was so long ago, Ellen still had female hair. So, like...
Look, am I the only one that thinks that this is bad? Yeah, it's brilliant if she's in on the joke. It's pretty rough if she wasn't in on the joke at all. I think it's quite
that's
ambushing.
the problem with the producers. I think the producers did the wrong thing. Mariah should have been worded up on this.
Ellen to do something.
Do you guys need Ellen to fail? Have you got money on Sportsbet?
No, I need Ellen to take responsibility for her actions, and she hasn't. We all stuff up. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we even get arrogant. But she has tried to deflect this onto everyone else but herself. And by the way, I don't think it will affect her ratings one iota. But the simple fact is there is enough smoke to be a raging bushfire around the person known as Ellen DeGeneres. But we are running out of time. Ben, one of my favourite shows is Heading Down Under. What have you got for us?
Well, I have a really exciting clip. I'm going to have to say to you, Rob, I had no idea who any of these people are. I'd never heard of Jack Whitehall before, so I'd obviously been living under a rock. I did watch some really interesting... I did manage to watch some interesting footage before the show, so I am up to speed. However, he has announced that he's going to be making a Netflix series, which will be seen in September, on September 22nd to be exact.
So, Ben, what this is, and my kids love this show, which is terrible because it has the most dirtiest language in it, but he travels around the globe with his father who wants nothing to do with it, and it is hilarious. But yes, as you pointed out, Jack has sent in a message to reveal what's happening with his Australian tour.
Launching on Netflix
we have
on the
audio.
22nd of September. Hello Australia, I have some very exciting news. The new series of my show Travels with My Father is launching on Netflix on the 22nd of September, and this series, me and my father went down under. Now before you see the show or any of the promotional material, I'd like to take this opportunity to say in advance, I'm very, very sorry. I have no control of what comes out of his mouth. We had a lovely time there. I am a huge fan of your nation, and I was assured before I travelled to Australia that Aussies have the best sense of humour in the world and are the best at being able to take a joke. Well, I guess it's time to put that to the test.
Oh, that's hilarious. Ben, thank you for that. It's one well worth looking out for. We've got to go. We will see you tomorrow. Been a crazy show. We have Anjali Rao joining us again as our fourth panellist. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.